you guys heard of Trap Talks? Because I'm getting Trap Talks done today.
Okay, Trap Talks. That's what we're talking about today. This is huge, and it's become a trend in a very funny way.
Botox in your trapezius? Well, it's actually kind of a thing.
A rising number of patients are choosing to get Botox injected straight into their shoulders.
Barbie Botox. This idea that because Barbie does not have a trapezius muscle and people want to look like Barbie, so they are Botoxing their trapezius muscles into oblivion.
Everyone knows about the Barbie movie that came out in July. There was so much press, advertising, and fashion trends that revolve around this movie. Apparently it was the most popular movie of 2023, but what I didn't know is that after this movie came out, so did a new trend. I've heard about lipo, I've heard about sculpting, but this one is a first for me. So I was just scrolling on YouTube and I came across this TikTok video that Alicia Marie did, and she was talking about how she got this thing called Barbie Botox.
I actually recently tried the Barbie Trap Talks in your trapezius muscles. So y'all were shook when I mentioned to you in a recent TikTok that I did the viral Barbie Trap Talks Botox in my trapezius muscles. So many comments were like, we need more. We want updates, please. Was it worth it? Tell us all of your thoughts. My neck muscles are so much more relaxed and I feel myself having better posture. Because they're such big muscles, it's a little expensive. I want to say it was like $1,000.
When I first saw this, I was like, what? And then the light bulb popped into my head and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna make the perfect video. So I started doing research on this topic and I was just so overwhelmed with all the information I found. But pretty much this trend happened like a couple months ago. I just don't know how I didn't find out about it or see it happening. Apparently this trend is so popular that even Kim Kardashian is doing it. But okay, enough rambling, let's just get into the nitty-gritty. So what is Trap Talks? Otherwise known as Barbie Botox. Trap Talks is essentially injecting in the trapezius. The trapezius muscle is like a really large muscle that goes like along the back of the neck and then along the back of the shoulder. It's a place where we hold a lot of tension, and because we're using that muscle so often, it can oftentimes get just really bulky. I don't know if you guys have ever, worked out, but when you're doing certain exercises like those, they're not crunches, they're like, it's just one of those exercises where you have to make sure you're using your core muscles and not your neck muscles, because oftentimes people will do the exercise wrong, so they'll use their neck to pull themselves up, so they'll just be building their neck muscles and get really bulky. So the next question you might be wondering is, what does this have to do with Barbie? So when we look at Barbie, she's very thin and lengthy and her neck is very long and she has almost no neck muscles. So after this movie came out, everyone wanted to look like Barbie. So when you get injected with this neurotoxin, which is the Botox, it blocks the signals from the nerves to the muscles. So when you go and flex the muscle, the signal is blocked, so the muscle doesn't flex. So over time, the muscle gets smaller, thus appears slimmer. By temporarily stopping the nerve cell communication, you can get the effective relief from tension and knots because the Botox is relaxing the muscles. And this procedure can also help with your migraines. When you hunch your shoulders a lot, or if you maybe look down at your cell phone for long periods of time, this holds a lot of tension and pressure in your shoulders and your neck, and it puts constant strain on the trapezius muscle, which is why the trapezius is a major source of headache pain or migraine. So how this procedure essentially works is your injector is going to inject it in the place that's holding the most tension. Then they apply the Botox at the peak of the tension of the muscle in like a box-like shape, going back towards the back in about 4 rows of 5 injections. You obviously don't want to apply Botox to the whole muscle. The idea is just to apply just enough to the peak of where your tension is to relax it enough that the tension releases and your neck is elongated. And obviously I'm not a doctor, this is just me summarizing it. And just like Alicia Marie said, it's around $1,000. Like any medical procedure though, there are risks, which include bruising, muscle weakness, redness at the injection site, and in rare cases you might experience allergic reaction. Barbie Botox is temporary, only lasting about like 3 to 4 months. So you're gonna have to just constantly keep going back to sustain the same result. This trend is so popular that even Kim Kardashian herself has got this procedure procedure done. Of season 3 of the Kardashians, the family was recording a Christmas family album, I guess, and they were using a vocal coach to help warm up their vocal cords, and the vocal coach was like, okay, we're gonna be using our neck muscles to, you know, warm up. And Kim said something on the lines of, well, those were all Botox, so.
I'm just talking on pitch. I'm not using my neck muscles. We have 425 muscles in the neck.
Half of mine are probably Botoxed, so I can't like.
I just find it very dangerous that Barbie is being marketed with the Botox trend. Like, let's go watch Barbie and then get Botox. It's already screwed up that Barbie has been marketing to little girls, and Barbie obviously doesn't have human-like characteristics. Like, no one has a neck like this, yet this is the beauty standard that we're expected to follow. And people wonder why so many children, teens, and adults are so insecure with how they look. It's because we're being injected with this false beauty standard that is the holy grail of being pretty. And getting Botox nowadays is just so normalized. It's such a normal thing to have parties that are centered around Botox. Burgers and Botox, or barbecue and Botox. Like, these are actually like names that people have put on their invitations for parties. Like, I'm not even joking. Botox has obviously like always been really popular, but ever since the pandemic, it's just skyrocketed. And now there are just so many different forms of Botox, like Barbie Botox or Barely There Botox. So when Botox first came out, people were just using it to essentially just isolate and freeze your muscles. So that frozen look is what most people went for when they got this procedure done. At the time, doctors were using like 20 to 30 units in one area, which is a lot. But in modern day society, that number has decreased significantly in like the last 10 years, I want to say. So Barely There Botox, or Baby Botox, involves using a certain amount of limited units spread across multiple muscles in the face, most commonly in the forehead, brow area, and in the corners of your eyes. Baby Botox works the same as traditional Botox, but with smaller doses of the toxin. There are limited effects on your face with less dramatic results. So Baby Botox is often used on facial areas that are more prone to wrinkles, like your forehead. They're also used on your jawbone, lips, lip fillers, frown lines, and neck. The result gives you more of like a refreshed look that doesn't leave your face totally frozen. Like, you know, when most people get Botox, they're known to like not be able to use their facial expressions, so their happy face, sad face, and angry face like all looks the same because they can just barely just move anything. But the thing is that most patients that are getting the Baby Botox are getting it done in like their 20s and 30s. What? That is just, it's so young. Why your 20s? I mean, this is just crazy to me. Like, listen, I don't judge, do what you want, but I personally just find it kind of wild. And of course, like, these injections don't last as long because you're not getting a lot put in your face. So again, it's one of those things where you're gonna have to get done multiple times to keep the same, you know, effects. I mean, this is the world that we live in. Barbie Botox. I think it's insane, but hey, who am I to judge? If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week for my next video. Bye, guys.